Aren't you a bit old to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh? This is probably the most triggering phrase that I can ever hear thrown around in this community. At some point, this got labeled a children's card game. Yu-Gi-Oh is a kid's game. It's for kids. When are you gonna grow up and stop playing it? I really hate the negative stigma of playing something from an anime like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, where people assume that it's for kids, that it's not for old people like me. I've played it since I was 13. It's been included in over half of my life. It has become my living through YouTube to be able to talk about this game I love. So when I see somebody try to cuck somebody else and just go, man, you're too old to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You should be doing something else. What ounce do you expect them to be doing? Do you expect them to get on a boat and go fishing with you and chug some beers? Yeah, that's a good time with the bros, but I really like the aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! That you're always problem solving, you're figuring things out, you are creating new strategies, you are having fun with friends, making new friends, you are a part of a community that is worldwide. And I really think there's so many aspects to Yu-Gi-Oh! That bar the entry from it being a children's card game. There's the phrase, "You've activated my trap card," which is probably one of the favorites of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players everywhere. But this actually shows that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the most, if not the most, complicated card game out there. It's one of the only card games where you're interacting continuously during your opponent's turn. Every single time your opponent activates any sort of effect, you have the ability to respond. They have to ask you, do you have a response to that before they continue if they're playing the game properly? So you have the chance to activate a trap card. Heck, there's even cards from your hand just flying out of your hand nowadays that you're able to use during your opponent's turn. They're monsters with what are called quick effects that can respond to anything. It's just crazy the level of interaction and complicated that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become. And the barrier to entry only rises. We keep getting new mechanics every year, such as the pendulum mechanic, the Xyz mechanic. We now have the Link mechanic known as Master Rule 4, where the whole game board changed this year, and people even trying to come back into the game that used to play it get confused and leave because of it. It's definitely a complicated mess of a card game that takes practice and time to learn and understand. To fully comprehend this game, you probably have to spend 6 months playing this more than twice a week, probably 3 to 4 times a week with your friends, several hours at a time, learning, okay, so if this happens and I respond with this and they respond with that, what can I do? And learning then the interactions to actually get good scrub. You've got to take a lot of time to do that. And I just want to say the average age range for Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably is in the 20s. A lot of people who come into the card game because of how complicated it is tend to start coming in around the age of 15 to 16. Yes, there are younger duels that play, and there's actually a separate place for them to play called the Dragon Duels, because Konami recognizes how complicated this game is, so they give a separate section to the kids to play in, so that the majority of the field is actually adults or older duelists duking it out in the main tournament. I think one of the most ridiculous things that happens in our society is constantly, and I see this on forums, on threads, on Facebook and Zodiac and Reddit, my girlfriend told me it's either her or the card game. What should I do, guys? Are you serious? I get that some people might actually have a spending problem with this card game. No self-control. They're going to go out and get nice max rarity cards and spend their whole paychecks, and it's an actual problem in their life. But a lot of these people that post these threads seem like reasonable people who are just being told, I don't like that you play. You really seem childish and all your friends are childish. Well, this community may act like a giant middle school at sometimes, and I'm looking at you, Reddit and Zodiac. It definitely has an adult aspect to it. It has times where everybody comes together and has awesome times. So when somebody really just takes a dump on from looking outside at our community, I get pretty angry at it. So if I was ever told it's me or the cards, Begone, thought. That's just a simple answer. You're never going to have a healthy relationship that exists on ultimatums. And all this stemming from, I think it's childish. I think it's not something an adult should do. Well, the stigma tends to go away in modern society, and it becomes cool to have fandoms, cool to have things you enjoy. People like that they can actually see passion there from people's. There's still a lot of people out there who go and look at what we do and think it's just for the kiddos. It's not something we should be doing. And as I'm 28 turning on 29, I'm gonna keep playing this card game for the foreseeable future. There's a term, YPFL, Yu-Gi-Oh! Player for life. I think that suits me well. Duelist till I die. Another huge aspect that stops this from being a children's card game is the pricing. It is crazy how much these cards can actually cost. Just 3 cards in a deck that are basically essential to being able to play the card game and be competitive at it can cost $70 to $100 a piece nowadays, and used to it was even more expensive. So imagine, on a kid's allowance, them trying to continuously play this card game when each month there's a new set, and with each new set, it tends to hurt the older deck, so that every 3 months or 6 months, in order to keep playing this game competitively, you need a new kind of set. You need something new. You've got to keep playing the next best thing. And most kids can't afford that. And while some kids are out here balling, their parents are helping them out, they have mom and dad's money to give to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami, it's not that way for most people. A lot of people are spending money out of their hard-earned jobs. A lot of parents don't let their kids go out and spend their money on this kind of thing because they see it as a waste. They see it as something that they shouldn't be doing, and it's a lot of money to continue to play this game. You have to make a conscious decision. I want to keep playing this game. I want to get good. I want to top tournaments. Or I just want to fool around and have fun. What's the next best deck that I'm going to be able to have fun with in the rogue factor? I don't want to play what everyone else is playing, so I get to play a little cheaper, but you're still updating every couple of months. There's going to be a new card that helps your deck, a new card that destroys your deck. That's just kind of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, and if you're not keeping up with money, you're not going to have a good time. So while it is an expensive habit, an expensive hobby, trading the cards, it's a trading card game, is part of how you keep up, and children also don't typically have that concept of money. They just want the card. They don't care how much it's worth. They just want to play with it. And as you grow up into adult, you start to value that worth versus other things in your life, and it becomes much so more about how the entire community is. That's why my channel is able to do so much with cards and card prices, and it's almost what it's based on today. So many people care about card prices and why they change, and kids just don't really understand that value a lot of the times. What I'm trying to say here is don't let people drag you down, because it's likely they don't understand what you're doing it, and they're belittling it out of a place of being uneducated about it. They don't get the community. They think the game is way different than it should be. And if you're playing Pokemon, if you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you're dressing up for cosplay, you have all sorts of people who will give you weird looks, who will look at you without understanding. And that's okay. That's the way the world has always worked. We grow through understanding. Fandoms are becoming a more powerful thing as we continue. This community grows so fast. The Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube community, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community in general, Duel Links opened a wide door for that. And I think it's awesome. So the more people that really come to understand us and understand that it really doesn't matter your age as long as you're enjoying yourself, as long as you're not having some kind of addiction where you throw all the money down the hole. It is what it is. It's just what we like to do in our free time. And some of us like to take it to the next level and try to become a champion. So thanks for watching, guys. I usually don't rant on like this, but I really had to get this one off my chest, and it feels real good, let me tell you what. I've had this one backed up in here for a while. It was some of the first comments I ever got when I started Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube when I was like 25, and yeah, that might be old too. I'm out of college and I'm making Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube videos. But next video, Am I too old to be a YouTuber? Click inside, see what happens next.